My name's Doyle Fanning, and this is a print that I did called it's called Capitol by Moonlight. So Washington State Capitol.
Will you tell me about the process of making it? So what kind of print it is?
This is a photo collage. So what I do is I take photographs, and I take photographs of lots of things. And I wouldn't really call them photographs. They're more snapshots of things that catch my eye. And I took a photograph of the Capitol, and I have a photograph of the moon, and I have a photograph of the sunset on Bud Bay, and I have a photograph of the two flags. And so I cut them up digitally and kind of, process them a little bit and then put them back together and, line them up. And in this one, I added a little extra greens that I also had taken a photograph of. So it's just a matter of layering things and then printing them and testing them. And it's always a very unexpected, I think I'm going to do one thing and then something else turns out. So I was really pleased with the way this one looked.
I have to ask about the shape of how did you end up with that kind of long, narrow?
The long, narrow shape. I've always been interested in Asian art, and it's a form that a friend of mine was using a lot, and so I started to do it. But I have to tell you, honestly, I have a wall in my bathroom, and I wanted to put something on it, and it was long and narrow. So I started making this size, and then I realized that it really fit with a lot of the aesthetics that I was interested in as well. So, yeah.
I'm sure so much art has arisen from
Just
that place in your bathroom.
That really practical thing, right? I mean, just a very practical thing. And it's turned out to be a size and shape that really speaks to me and that I really, really like.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about, your experience of it side by side with this historic photograph of I guess it's the first Capitol?
Well, it's not the first Capitol. It's right. One of the first Capitols.
Thank you.
So after the Nisqually earthquake in 2001, I managed the renovation of the state Capitol building. And I learned a lot about the Capitol. One of the things I learned was that people across the state were worried about it, right? We got phone calls from people in Republic and St. John and Vancouver. Is the dome okay, right? So it's a really important building for the public, right? I learned that. And I also learned a lot about the history of the Capitol and how it went from just a little building to the one that's in this picture over here of the state Capitol to the one we see now. And when the current Capitol was built in the 1920s, there were only 500,000 people in the entire state. So that's like half the population of Seattle scattered across the state. So to build something this monumental and, was really extraordinary. And Norm Johnson, who wrote a book about the Capitol, called it, how did he put it? It was audacious of the state, So the state had aspirations for being something more than just a little backwater state up in the northwest corner of the country, right? And so we built this beautiful building and all of the buildings around it. And so I just wanted to capture that in this photograph, and and that we still see the Capitol, and we still aspire to better things and being better people. So, yeah.
Wow, yeah. There's a lot of history.
There's a lot of history. Yeah, there's a lot of history in it. Yeah.
So what I'm curious about what you think kind of happens when we place art and history side by side, like we did in this exhibit.
Yeah, I've been thinking about art and history, and it occurred to me that we don't have history without art. I mean, everything we know about the past, or not everything, but almost everything we know about the past is captured in some art form, whether it's a cave painting, pictographs on rocks, sculpture, poetry, stories, literature. I mean, so all these art forms, even letter writing, right? All these art forms are what carry history forward. And so what we're doing here is making that connection more apparent to people, I think, that this photograph is a piece of art, right? This postcard's a piece of art, right? And this is a piece of art. And in the future, one or both of these might still exist and people would know something about us and what we thought about our capital because of the art that we have. So I'm just really pleased that we're able to kind of strengthen that connection for people. And I'm curious about all this art in this room and what people in the future are going to make of it, right? What's it going to say about us, right? I mean, it will tell stories about us, and people will see it and think about who we were and what was important to us and our values and everything.
Yeah, artifacts for future research.
Yeah, I have an undergraduate degree in anthropology, so artifacts are really cool. You know, I love artifacts.
Okay, that's great. Would you say why should people come down to see this exhibit or to see the AHA Museum?
I think it's important for people to make those connections with the future because of this art and the past, and not just in the art in this gallery part, but in the rest of it. You know, you learn a lot about Olympia's history. People don't realize it, but Olympia wasn't destined to be the state capital. I mean, it's sort of interesting to me that Seattle wasn't even on the list. That Yakima and Tacoma were on the list with Olympia, and we won out. So it's important to come here and see why this is such an important part of the state and why, you know, everything we have to offer people. And I don't think people know enough about the history of Olympia. They tend to think about the capital and the state government, perhaps, but they don't realize that there's just so much history right here in Olympia, and this is a place to start exploring it and to learn, and to figure out how your history here, like I was listening to Don Freeze talk about how, you know, his history here, you know, and I'm thinking about my history in Olympia and how that all, it comes together with everything in this museum. So I think it's a good place to come and learn about yourself.
That's great. Do you want to share at all about your history with Olympia?
Oh, I came here in 1979, and I wasn't going to stay. And then I drank some water from the artesian well, and they say once you drink water from the artesian well, you're done, right? You're here forever. So I wasn't going to stay, and I've been here ever since. I was one of the founding members of the Olympic Film Society. I was on the first Arts Commission. We had the first Arts Walk. And I've been involved in a lot of community activities. I was on the Friends of Artesians for 20 years, you know, fighting to get the well preserved because it's a part of our history, right? So, yeah, so I've been here for a long time and mostly worked just in state government, but I did a lot of volunteer work as well.
Yeah, thanks for preserving the well.
Yeah, for preserving the well, yeah.
I mean, and all these other things
Yeah.
as well. What's coming next for you, or what are you working on?
I'm still doing some of these kinds of prints, but I'm also really fascinated right now with paper. And so I've been doing some origami. I've been doing some bookmaking. I've been doing some cut paper, where I cut paper and put it into mobiles. So I think some of that's kind of, you know, and that's very, that's using my hands, you know, and that's a hand thing. And this is digital, and well, it's lovely. I miss putting my hands on things. And cutting paper and folding paper is a very, you know, very active thing, and I'm really enjoying that. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now.
That's great. I can't wait to see it.
Okay, great, thanks.
Is there anything else you want to say or comment on?
No, just thank you for doing this. I think it's great, and, you know, looking forward to seeing what everyone else has to say.
That's great. Thank you.